Hi, I'm Fran Gallun, and a funny thing happened on the way to my show.
I first met the artist Fran Gallun in 2012 when I filmed her at the now sadly departed Rosenfeld Gallery. Fran has a show up now at the Cerulean Gallery.
It's up, it looks great, but no one's allowed to come.
We talked by Skype about how her work has changed from then to now. In those days, you were doing abstract stripe artworks.
Around 2015, the stripes and the narrow bands that felt to me like landscape, and also had my old work cut up and old vintage photos from Israel. That started to shift and the vessel shape returned. Vessels, to me, represent an archetype, an eternal shape that's universal. In the 80s, I did a lot of still life, from the objects on the table. And now they're imaginary and flat. The vessels sometimes are painted, but a lot of times cut from patterns so that they are repetitive and they've grown to become my characters in this imaginary narrative. And now I'm using old canvases, some from the 80s, and painting over them, then collaging shapes on top. It gives me great pleasure to reuse, recycle, renew. And I'm still working on paper as well with mixed media and collage.
In the show back from 2012, you talked about how there were a lot of Jewish themes in your work. Is that still a part of your work or not so much?
Only in the ancient part, the desert archaeology. There's something about a clay vessel that goes back to the beginning of time.
What about your influences? When I saw them, I was thinking a little bit about Matisse.
Yes, forever. And even though there are lots of other influences, he represents some kind of feeling that I still respond to very strongly, very strongly.
Your husband, Len, the engineer, had a great quote back in those days.
Oh, boy.
And it was so good, referring to your work back then.
And this is very abstract, but it hits my nervous system properly. I mean, I really like the way it impacts on me.
What's he think of this new work and your return to a more figurative style?
Wow, I could bring him on.
Oh, yes.
And I really see a freedom that she is now comfortable doing anything she wants. Just the placement, the colors, the shapes, the way her hand is right there on the canvas. And I see it as a new opening for her, another development, steps. And now to the potato latkes.
The 14th of March, which was the opening, and the gallery was open, and a few people, dear loyal friends, came by.
Here are a couple things some of them said. Teresa V. I see you in your work. You are true to yourself no matter what. Judy W. Your eye for color is wonderful. Lisa W. I'm inspired. Priscilla B. She is fearless in her use of color to sometimes surprising, sometimes more subtle effects. Either way, it is deeply satisfying. Juliet M. It's wonderful, happy and colorful, and very life-affirming. It's now a week since Cerulean Gallery had to shut its doors. Fran is likely one of the last artists to have people see her work in a gallery for the foreseeable future. And though looking at art on a screen is not nearly as good as seeing it in person, thanks to the internet, we can still do so. Fran, where should people go for their Fran Gallun art?
You can see more of my work and more of a historical overview at frangallun.com. And I really thank John Thornton, who is...
No need for thanks. I love making these movies. But perhaps someday, when all is good again, I can come visit you guys and hopefully hear...
Now to the potato latkes.